Big weekend over the weekend in high school football, and the surprises continue to roll out. Ron Moshier from the Observer-Dispatch is on the line right now. Ron, the surprises continue.
Oh, yes. Just when you think you know what's going on, you find out that you don't. I mean, Bill, I do call it Tuesday takeaway column every Tuesday in the OD, and the theme this week's going to be what a difference a week makes, because I'll tell you, I covered Notre Dame in week 2 when they got beat by Central Valley Academy. That was a shocker, 30-7. Well, on Saturdays, I usually have the liberty to pick and choose where I want to go, what game I want to cover,
Yeah.
And after watching Notre Dame against CVA, I'm hemming and hawing. Gee, should I really go all the way to Cazanovia and watch them get beat by the defending state champs, or should I stick around here and go to a local game like I don't know, Dowsville, Mount Markham, something like that, where I'd have 2 local teams? And I went back and forth, and then I said to myself, if I don't go to Cazanovia and Notre Dame does a complete turnaround and beats the defending state champs, I'm going to be kicking myself. So I made the trip to beautiful Cazanovia, and it was a strange, wild game, and believe me, I'm glad I was there, because trying to get the details of that, the ins and outs of that game over the phone would have been horrifying, because it was a strange one. But I'll tell you, Notre Dame down 14-0 in the last minute of the first half, and there are times when you have to sit on the lead and take a 14-0 lead into half. And Cazanovia threw back-to-back interceptions in the last 62 seconds, and the last one Notre Dame made him pay for it, because Jalen Warmack threw a touchdown pass to Sam Bianco with 0.6 seconds left.
Wow.
In the half, to suddenly give Notre Dame some life, because they went into the half 14-7 instead of 14-0. And granted, Cazanovia came back and took a 2-touchdown lead again in the third quarter, but Notre Dame just refused to give up and pulled it off 28-27.
Wow.
Largely because of there's a freshman named Isaiah Zarnecki, about 6'2", 6'3", 200-pound kid, who had himself a breakout game because he blocked 2 punts and he blocked an extra point, which obviously all of those are huge in a 28-27 win. So, the last block punt is what led to A.J. Papa scooping it up and scoring from about 7 yards out. And Tom Rapero kicks the extra point, and they win 28-27. The defense does its job at the end, and Notre Dame pulls it off. And believe me, it made me very happy to know that I decided to go to Cazanovia that day. So, it was a wild weekend, and let's face it, Friday night, too, we got to give some credit to Frankfurt Schuyler beating a very, very good West Canada Valley team. West Canada was ranked 4th in the state, and believe me, at this time of year, that's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
But I firmly believe, West Canada played for a section title last year. They have almost everybody back. But Frankfurt beats them 24-20. Frankfurt's 3-0 now. And we knew that Class D was going to be very, very interesting this year, with now Frankfurt, Dowsville 3-0, and West Canada Valley still there, believe me. So, I'm looking forward to West Canada versus Dowsville and Frankfurt versus Dowsville now. Class D is interesting every single week, but it was a wild weekend. I have to give credit to Notre Dame too. Jalen Warmack, there's not much to him. I think he's listed at 170, but believe me, that's pretty generous. And he's only a sophomore, and he got beaten up pretty good at Caz. Had to come out of the game a couple times. But in the end, he throws 3 touchdown passes, 2 of them to Sam Bianco, another one to Devin Smith. And, Notre Dame's back contender again in Class B East. A week after getting 1 first down and 14 total yards in a loss to CVA, who, by the way, Bill, you see Central Valley Academy's 3-0, and they host a very good Mexico team on Friday night. That'll be a good one this week, too.
Yeah, that's going to...
So we got CVA playing great defense. Their defense hasn't given up an offensive touchdown in the last 2 weeks of just giving up a kickoff return. So, they pitched a shutout, and so did Whitesboro. Whitesboro's playing good defense, too. They're 3-0. I was at that game. That was sort of a coming-out party, too, for nose guard Trevor Sleazer, who, defensive linemen don't get much credit, but he gave Watertown fits on Friday night. The Cazanovia brothers were great. Lucas returning the opening kickoff almost for a touchdown, setting up the first score. Whitesboro's for real. I think Central Valley Academy obviously is for real. I think the defensive end, the junior named Jake Slaughter, had 4 or 5 sacks in that game Friday night. So, they're 2 3-0 teams. The other, I guess you could call it a surprise, but I knew the Baldwinsville game was going to be tough for Proctor. And, Proctor slips to 2-1. They lose their league opener. And again, to me, worst fears were realized with Proctor. Their defense just hasn't done the job. Steve Stripe has called it a work in progress, and obviously it still is after the loss at Baldwinsville. And when you talk about defense, Bill, Rome Free Academy's averaging close to 40 points a game, and they're 0-3. So I think they had close to 500 total yards, but they had 6 turnovers and lost 62-41. That's a basketball score, obviously.
Yeah, I saw that score. That was incredible. That was Fayetteville. Fayetteville Manlius.
Yeah, they lost at Fayetteville Manlius.
Yeah.
Running back for Fayetteville Manlius, Eric Coley, had 7 touchdowns. So,
all right.
I mean, a lot of this, Bill, to me, a lot of these teams, they like turning it into a track meet, and I'd say they like hitting the home run on offense, but a lot of teams are not playing good defense, and so it winds up being 50-40 game.
So you're seeing, you are seeing some clarity begin here on week number 3. As you get into the 4th week, you're really going to get a pretty good idea to see who is where.
Well, let's face it, we're heading into week 4, and that's halfway through the regular season already. So
think about that.
I really think, another game, John Pederesi helped us out. New Hartford was in the game again at half against Indian River, and then winds up giving up a ton of points in the second half. So, again, defensive problem there.
And can I just ask you, I was joking earlier this morning on the Syracuse game that I was able to watch the first quarter. I mean, glad to see that Syracuse is back. They're playing well. How big of a win did they have on Saturday? And the joke is, of course, after that 17-0 first quarter, everything went downhill from there. What are your thoughts on this new offense and this new Syracuse that is faltering right now?
Well, again, it comes down to defense, and I have to tell you that obviously because covering high school, I haven't seen only highlights or lowlights from SU in the first few weeks. So, I mean, does that offense, is it entertaining? Yes, but, another point to that, if you're a quick-hitting offense, if you score a touchdown right away, obviously you're right back on defense, and you still have to play defense to win a game. I mean, you don't want to bank on scoring a ton of points. You're only going to win if you score 50 points. You still have to play the other side of the football, and a hurry-up offense and quick hitters, and if you score right away, it's the same thing with, Proctor's been going through it, RFA's been going through it. You score right away and everything, but then immediately you're back on defense. Yeah. And you better play defense. Yeah. It might sell some tickets. Who knows? We'll find out about that. But the bottom line is you winning, obviously. So, I can't comment too much on it because I haven't seen much of SU because of covering high schools.
All right, interesting stuff. Ron Moshier, of course, your article, your column tomorrow, we'll take a look at the takeaways from this past weekend and look to this coming weekend, week number 4 already of high school football. Ron, we appreciate your time. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Bill. Have a good day.